welcome back to the Spongy channel. So today is going to be one of my most craziest videos I've ever done. I'm going to be ranking every single one of the Despicable Me movies and the Minions movies. So it's kind of hard to do this ranking because all these movies are good except for like the Minions. The Minions is definitely the worst one out of all these. So you know already that that's going to be in the 5th place. I shouldn't have spoiled it for y'all guys. But I hope y'all enjoy today's video. It's going to be a good one. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with today's video. Here we go. So in 5th place goes to Minions. So, there's a lot of things wrong with this movie. I mean, like, it's not terrible, but it really ain't, honestly, really ain't that great of a movie. I mean, like, in the middle of the movie, it gets boring. Honestly, very boring in the middle of the movie. The only really good parts are at the beginning and the end. And some parts are funny, and some parts they're trying to be funny, but just are not funny. And the villains of this movie are not great at all. I mean, they just go they just spread this movie all across the world. You don't have to do that. They should have just stayed in one place. They should have just chose one location to do this. I mean, like, they didn't have to go this far with this movie. It would have been better if it had Gru in it. Gru in it a lot. But the maximum of this movie, Gru was in it. Maybe the maximum of 1 whole minute. I mean, like, that ain't good. That ain't good. Because that's what people watched the Despicable Me for, was Gru. And Minions became so popular, they had to make this one Minions movie for some reason. I mean, you can see why this is in 5th place. It just is not as good as the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Despicable Me or Rise of Gru. I mean, like, the 2nd Minions was better because Gru was in it. But I do like the Giant Kevin. I gotta give them credit for making the Giant Kevin. I love the Giant Kevin. So, finally we get to see Gru. Finally, at the very end, we get to see Gru. We should have saw Gru 1 minute into the movie. So, yeah, I'm definitely giving this movie a 5 out of 10. It's just not very great. So, 4th place goes to Minions, The Rise of Gru. So, I kind of feel bad putting this in 4th place because this was an awesome movie. Very awesome. But I think the Despicable Me movies are better than this movie, even though this movie is an instant classic. I mean, like, there's so much to it. Like I explained with the first Minions movie, there was a lot of problems with that movie. But this movie is just straight up fantastic. It's got some pretty good villains, and this is the movie that has the most villains in it. So there was a lot of, like, hero and villain fights. I mean, the fight scenes were genuinely good. Just great. I got this movie on Blu-ray when it first came out, and I watched it, and it was a great movie. And I love Otto. That's probably my favorite Minion of all time. He's such a good Minion. He's so funny. This movie was enjoyable at the beginning, middle, and end. Just such an enjoyable movie. It cannot be any better than this. There was nothing wrong with this movie. I mean, like, it's just a classic. I'm super glad they made a 2nd Minions, and I'm hoping if they do make a 3rd Minions, I'm hoping it'll be as good as this one, maybe even better. So yeah, all the fight scenes were good. Everything in this movie was good. And Gru was in it throughout the whole movie. This should have been the first one. But it wasn't. Sadly, it just wasn't. I mean, the first Minions could have been a lot better than that. But this movie was made up for the boringness. This was definitely an 8 out of 10. What an awesome movie. So, third place goes to Despicable Me 3. So, this is such an underrated classic. I mean, I put this in third place, not because, well, I just put this in third place because I just like the movie. It's so underrated. Most people that like Despicable Me don't even like this. And I like when Gru and Lucy tried the gummy bears in soup. I don't blame them for not liking it. It'd be so nasty. And I love Drew. He was a good character. And I'm glad Gru actually had a twin brother, but I don't think he should be in any other of the Despicable Me movies, just because you want a different story. And people are complaining about the Minions, how they were so annoying in this movie and not funny. But these Minions in this movie were funny. Just funny. At least they were funnier than they were in the Minions movie. I mean, that was boring. That's what you call a boring movie. And this was actually good. A very nice movie. Just a classic overall. I mean, there's not much to say about this movie. Only thing to say is that it's an instant classic, like Rise of Gru, Despicable Me 2. The Minions, not an instant classic, but all Despicable Me and Rise of Gru movies are instant classics. And I love the villain in this movie, Brat. That was a good villain. To be completely honest, I don't know if he was as good as El Macho or Vector, but he definitely was a good villain. I don't have anything bad to say about him. That giant robot. So, I'm going to have to give this movie a 9 out of 10. It was a good movie. So, second place goes to Despicable Me. So, this one's kinda overrated. Well, not in the way it's bad, but it's an overrated classic, if you know what I mean. It's a good movie, very, 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 very good movie, but I've seen a bunch of these lists, ranking videos, and people put this as number 1. That's what I mean about overrated. Everybody puts this number 1, and I don't think it's number 1. But it is a very, very, very good movie, don't get me wrong. And I love when the girls just first go to Gru's house, and they're like, this is not what I was expecting. Just a bunch of weapons and stuff like that. And the floating minion. I wonder where that minion went. I mean, the creators confirmed minions are immortal, so it don't matter what happens to them, they can't get killed. So, he's probably, that minion by now is probably at the moon with Vector. So, and apparently minions are glow sticks too. I don't know. But, because it showed it in the vents, he just lit up, that minion, you see him. But, and I love the part with the super silly Funland. I mean, they just go through so many adventures throughout the movie. I mean, this was Illumination's first attempt of making a movie. This was their first movie. And they seem to pull this movie off pretty good. An awesome movie. And this was created in 2010, and in 2023, it still looks realistic. I mean, you gotta give credit to the animation team with this movie. I mean, the animation is so good. I'm sure they worked years on this movie. I think they started the movie in 2008, because I watched a behind the scenes feature. I think that's what they said. And then at the end, he steals the moon. And that's a 10 out of 10. What an awesome movie. And first place goes to Despicable Me 2. So this one's even better. Man, there's so many good things to say about this movie. Like when Gru is dressed up as the fairy princess. That's so funny. And you gotta feel bad for Gru when they were making fun of him at school. You gotta feel bad for him. I mean, if someone was making fun of me at school, I wouldn't be real happy. That just made me sad. So, and I love the jelly part when he just he tried it and, oh, that's so tasty. And then he was working at a cupcake shop or whatever. They might sell cakes too. I really don't know. But overall, a very good movie with a great villain too. El Macho is a great villain, and I forgot to say something about Vector in the first one. He was maybe an even better villain. But overall, I think this has a better story than all of them. I mean, all these besides the Minion movie has a very good story. Has a very good story to them. Illumination does a really good job with these movies. So, yeah, Despicable Me 2, it's nice and colorful. The animation is nice and colorful. And just an overall instant classic. More classic than any of these movies. But all these movies, except Minions, of course, are classics. So, yeah, this movie was created in 2013, and it still looks realistic to this day. I mean, all these movies look realistic, even the Minions movie. I mean, that movie wasn't good at all, but, yeah. This is a 10 out of 10. Great movie. And that's going to do it all for today, everybody. If you liked today's video, make sure to give a like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and yeah, it's pretty much all we have for today. I really enjoyed making this ranking video. This is like my best ranking video I've ever done. I've only done a few on the channel. So yeah. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.